Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Abundant AI. I'm your host, Jason Webb, with my co host, Jonathan Mast. We are here coming to you today about kind of how we were raised, how we see kids being raised today within just the educational world, and AI and its role in all of these pieces. Jonathan, as we were growing up, we were of a different generation where we did not have this technology available at our fingertips like our kids do today. Um, what are your thoughts?
I've got lots of them. I'm not sure they'll be popular with the audience, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, I'll summarize it really easily. AI is an amazing tool and it's not going away. And just like I believe that students should be able to use calculators once they've learned the basics of, the math tables and addition and subtraction, and, you got all that down, and multiplication and division, you should be able to use a calculator, because there's no reason that you have to, once you understand the concept, that you should have to do it 27 times a night with your homework. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think AI is the same way. And I think that some schools, very few, commendable, they're embracing it, they're understanding it's a tool, and they're teaching it. Unfortunately, my experience with the schools that my son goes to, and with many people I talk to in their communities, most schools are taking the other approach, and they're leaning more towards banning it and restricting it and telling everybody not to use it. I don't want my kid going to a school where they're taking a tool that is going to be integral to the rest of their life and telling them they can't use it. Period. End of story.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. One thing that I think about this, especially being from the faith-based side, is God did all this for a reason. He put us in this position to be raising kids when technology is moving so fast. Today doesn't need to be about fear with any of these pieces. It needs to be how we raise faith-filled kids in a world shaped by algorithms, like how we're building these AI pieces. And it is a tool. We've talked about this many times. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil. I'm of the same thought as you, is like, look, it isn't, again, you guys might not like these things that we're going to say here, just from our perspective as being dads and fathers. And I truly believe that it's not school's job to say you cannot use this, you cannot do this, because like you said, the calculators, the internet, the computers, all of these pieces are very, very slow to integrate these things into society. Well, it's going to be here. It's not going away. We need to be at the forefront of this and have our schools actually teaching how to use this stuff.
Absolutely. And as parents, we need to get involved, and you need to advocate for your children. They talk about medical advocacy, and I totally believe in that. If you or your spouse or a loved one is in a medical situation, they need a medical advocate, because the default is not necessarily what's always best for people. And schools, I think, are the same way. As parents, as grandparents, I'm both, you need to be an advocate for your children and your grandchildren. And I want to encourage people, I'm not talking, about getting violent with anybody, but don't take the school position that we're not going to do it because whatever because they say is BS. This is, you mentioned the internet. Another thing, we use the internet. Do we not have electricity in schools anymore? Because we used to have schools without electricity. Do we not have electricity now? I mean, we used to work by oil lamps. Do we not have light bulbs that we use now? We didn't have computers when I was in school, but now they have computers in school. I think that's a good thing. We didn't used to have the internet because it didn't exist when I was in school, and now they do. Certainly you can use Google and go on and do research. Does it mean we have to use Encyclopedia Britannica because that's what I grew up with? No. And that's what I feel is the schools, and I'm lumping them together. And I want to be very clear. I've talked to a lot of teachers who agree that AI is not a bad thing. I've talked to very few school administrators who think that AI is anything but a threat to them, and I think that's why they're against it.
Oh, I agree. And I see a lot of teachers being kind of, they don't want to utilize it because again, it could take away their jobs, right? But we've actually seen studies, like I use AI to basically teach me. I've trained it how I learn. You've done the same thing with a lot of other stuff that you do. And we've seen some schools that have actually really taken this and made it a tool that they can actually use for their students, where they can actually individualize learning patterns or training systems for each of the kids. And I think you're the one who told me that there's a school that did this, and their grade scores like bumped like 80, 90% or something.
I don't think it was me. I don't have a stat like that, although I'd love to see
Yep.
it. What I do know is that we live in a global economy now, and if
Mhm.
we start looking what's happening around the world, many countries are embracing AI in the school because they know it's important to teach our kids how to use it. Now, ultimately, it's our job as parents to teach our kids how to use it properly, and I get that, and I'm a huge advocate for that. But I think I shared with you just prior to the call. My youngest is a senior in high school this year, and he is no longer attending the school that he used to attend because they determined that the papers he was writing
Mhm.
were likely written by AI based on some faulty AI tool that they used. My wife is an editor. She knows how to write far better than I do, and she's taught our son how to write. He's on his computer. We know where he's at. It's out in the open. I see what he's doing. My wife sees what he's doing. He's using AI to do research, which, by the way, the school is opposed to, and I don't care. I'm the parent. He's using it to do research. He's using it to formulate thoughts. But when it comes time to writing his reports and everything else, he's doing it by hand.
Yeah. Yep.
They said, well, but our tool, which, by the way, the same tool finds the Bible and the Constitution and that to be likely written by
It
AI.
does.
So this is not a foolproof tool. The tool says, that we think it might be AI, so he needs to rewrite it. Fine, no problem. We went back and forth a few times. He's no longer in that school and won't be in that school because I'm not going to tolerate that. And I think if enough parents stand up to schools like that, they will take note
Mhm.
because they want our students there. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad people. They just have the wrong perspective in many cases. And again, this isn't so much teachers. I find it's really the administration that's driving that. And they don't want to get involved because it's going to be more work. Yeah, they guess what? All those curriculums they used 2 years ago, yeah, they got to be redone.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the joy is if they teach their teachers how to do it, they can be redone a lot faster and it can
Oh,
amplify
that's
the
right.
teacher's skill and experience too.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the thing is, our parents, they didn't have to navigate this level of tech or AI, but now we do, and most of like our audience or so is learning at the same time they're trying to lead with this.
Yeah.
I've used those models. I've seen some of those test systems that you're talking about there. I've pushed a lot of things through those just to have fun and see what comes of it. Everything that I throw in there is going to show as somewhat of an AI or so because I write a lot. I've done a lot of writing in my life. Um, but there's also a way that people can circumvent them. And so you cannot trust any of those systems at all. Like it's just not
Well,
there.
and
And our students
I
need to
want
know
to
this.
I want to posit that we're actually painting something here that's irrelevant.
Mhm.
I've had this discussion with a lot of people. People are like, people don't want AI content. No, that's not true. People don't want garbage content. And the reality is that a lot of the AI content that we've seen online in the last 2 years is garbage. Because what you have is you have people going, well, instead of writing two good, high quality posts a day, I could write 200 of them with AI. I'll never proofread them and I'll put them all out there. Well, it creates garbage and
Mhm.
nobody wants that.
Yeah, it
The
still takes space.
reality is, you know that I make my
Mhm.
business doing marketing.
Yep.
AI helps me write marketing copy. It helps me write better marketing copy than I can write on my own, and it helps me do it a lot faster than I was able to do it. It helps my team do the same thing. Nobody objects in my communities to the fact that well, okay, once in a great while, and I always go, do you really care, or did this post just not resonate with you? Well, I didn't like the way you said that. Okay, fair enough, no problem. But it's never because I used AI to help me write it. But notice the difference is I didn't use AI to do everything. I didn't hand the job off to
Mhm.
AI. I used it like I hired another assistant to work with me, and I collaborated with AI to create something better. Much in the same way that I invest money every year in updated computing equipment and everything else. I just literally sitting on the floor next to me, and if we'd had time before this call, I would have installed it. I have a new teleprompter that just came in. It's bigger, it's better,
You got to
and
show
it's
me
new.
that.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it, and I invest in
Mhm.
technology because it allows me to do my job better.
Mhm.
I could sit back and go, right now and people go, well, Jonathan, teleprompters, you're reading off the screen. Sometimes I do, yeah. But for the most part, I'm not very good at it. So I use it like we are right now. Because of the way it's set up, it appears that I'm looking at you. I am, because my camera is directly behind the screen I'm looking at.
Mhm.
So I get to watch you and I get to watch what I'm doing, and it creates a better user experience. Well, why wouldn't I want to invest in that technology? Nobody's ever said, well, geez, Jonathan, we'd prefer, by the way, this is what it looks like if I'm not using a teleprompter. And
Right?
this is what it looks like when I have a teleprompter. Just in
Mhm.
case anybody's wondering, let me do that again. This is what it looks like when I don't have a teleprompter. This is what it looks like when I do have a teleprompter.
Mhm.
It's not a bad thing. And that's where I get so frustrated because we have a lot of school administrators doing this. We've got certainly higher education doing it in spades. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, we have a lot of parents buying into the fact that, well, our kids just don't need to be learning that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, no, I agree. They completely do. And we see, technology. We see. Okay, I'm going to say some things here people aren't going to like as well.
Let's go for
Um,
it. I love that. Let's go for it.
because what we're seeing, or what I see a lot, because I have a 21-year-old daughter all the way down to a 6-year-old son. I have a very wide range of kids, and I've seen a big shift in things from my 21-year-old daughter to my 6-year-old. Is people are using technology as a babysitter now, and they see
Yeah.
that where you hand them over a tablet and just let them go. And the thing that we like kind of struggle with, or we talk with in our household, is it's not that they're dependent on tablets or this or that. It's really what's holding their attention, right? What
Correct.
is getting their attention? Is it the tablet? Is it these pieces? Well, we started implementing some AI pieces into it. Like I was just telling you before the show here.
Yeah.
I got on, was it Saturday night? Me and my boys, my 8-year-old son and my 6-year-old son, we actually got on Suno, which is, you've used Suno a lot. It's a
Hmm.
music app. It creates
I
amazing
love it.
things.
Yeah.
And we sat there for 3 hours. I have a 6-year-old sitting with me for 3 hours going over this and listening to music and worshiping and building like songs for their mom, and just really cool pieces that we can actually get their attention more. And it's
Exactly.
actually they're learning. They're we were getting into some discipleship things with it, with other tools when we can actually start creating some imagery of the Bible where they can see some of these things in action and just getting their
Absolutely.
attention. So where I'm saying is, get your kids off of the tablets where they're just being mindless at these things. Like I can't stand that when I go to a restaurant or so and all the kids are on phones and tablets and things. And don't get me wrong, I'm on my phone too quite a bit just because of everything that I have to do. But I still set it down and we still interact. Like you said, AI is just a tool that you can build all these things, but it's not the end all be all.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's in every piece of marketing and everything else that I do, like you do as well. Yes, I use it to help me build the copy. I help build everything in there, but it's not that I just post that stuff. We go
Yeah.
through, we look at it, we see how relevant it is, we see if it's actually sounds like us speaking. I love how you put that it's a collaboration of another employee.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of building some large businesses, and I've had assistants. Right, that's exactly how I teach my AI. Or I use my AI as, I'm going to tell it what to do. I'm going to tell it how to do it. I'm going to give it some context. And I'm going to say,
Exactly.
hey, work with me on getting this built out.
But that's the way you would do it in any situation that you were working in.
Mhm.
And that to me, again, it's much more like an employee. And I'm not saying it's sentient or anything like that. So if you're watching, don't go, oh, John. No, it's not an employee. It's not sentient. But you need to treat it in that capacity
Mhm.
to work for you because it will respond and it can give you feedback and it can help you do things better. I mean, simple matter of the fact is, I believe that AI helps us serve others more fully, plain and simple. I
Mhm.
believe that in the bottom of my core. As Christians, aren't we called to do that? I
Mhm.
mean, didn't Christ tell us we were supposed to carry the in the old times the soldiers things not 1 mile but two, and weren't we supposed to forgive not 7 times but 70 times 7, and all
Mhm.
these we're supposed to serve others. If, as such, we now have a tool that allows us to do that. Why shouldn't we be leveraging it?
When you think
I'm
about
not
this,
saying you have to, but
no.
don't go after and think the people that are doing it
Mhm.
are evil.
No, I completely agree. When we look back, Jesus's time when the disciples came out here, was there much technology then? No,
Mm,
we didn't have
yeah,
radio broadcasts. We didn't have television broadcasts. Jesus called us to go and make disciples of all nations, right? We
exactly,
have tools that can help us do that at scale now, whether it's TV, whether
exactly.
it's radio, what's that now, AI, where now people can actually learn from that and actually have an interaction where they can learn it in their own mind. I don't know how I can like hammer this into your guys' heads on this about how I utilize AI to teach me how I learn, how I understand, and that
Mhm,
gets me more in tune with how the gospel is, and then I can spread that more freely and more comfortably because I have more knowledge of it.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And it really is that straightforward. I mean, any topic you want. I mean, imagine when we were in school, how excited we got when we got a new set of encyclopedias. You're younger, so you may not remember that, but I
We had those
remember
back
the new encyclopedias came in and everybody was excited because they were updated and had more information. We wanted to learn. Well, now the beauty is we literally got that available at our fingertips,
Mhm.
and the internet was fine. So why not leverage AI to do the same thing and just help us organize that data in ways that make sense to us? Because again, you and I've talked about this on the show. Imagine a teacher up teaching algebra at the front of the class, and as she's teaching it, the tablets that most students now have on their desktop or the Chromebooks or whatever they've got is going, okay, this is Jonathan, and Jonathan learns through these ways, and he has these interests, and it now teaches me algebra through that filter instead of whatever filter that the teacher decides to use. Still factual, still good, but happens in real time. And guess what? I now learn faster
Mhm.
and probably remember it better. Unless, of course, it's history dates. I never did good on those on any test. Never probably will. But now it's taught me and allows me to remember things because
Mhm.
it's taught me in a manner that I'm interested in. Just like you were talking about with your boys, you were teaching them all kinds of things during the time they spent with you. Some of
Mhm.
it for fun, some of it just because, and some of it was great. But they'll remember that far more than had you sat them down with a textbook and said, "All right, we're going to talk about music."
Mhm.
They would have probably been bored, not cared, not paid attention, and said, "Dad, we got other stuff to do." You had fun, you made it interactive, and now not only did they learn, not only did they spend time with you, but they're gonna likely remember what it was that you went through with them.
I love that. And you think about this, right? We have the Bible. We learn just from the Bible, just by reading text. To me, I kind of say that as okay, we're messing with AI here. But now I have a pastor, a preacher speaking into me and talking into me from a different angle. So now I have you or me or whomever in the AI world making sure that hey, this is the ways you need to look at this. You need to handle this.
Yeah,
And so us being parents, one thing that we get nervous about, we see our kids gaming or we see our kids on all of these different devices. We need
yeah,
to still be having regular check-ins and making sure that we have a relationship with our kids, just like Jesus wanted with us, that they can be open and honest about, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Is it perfect? No. Kids are still going to be kids and they're still going to try to push these boundaries. But that's the reason why we need to be educated at the forefront to say, okay, what are these things that we need to be watching out for? Because if we don't do that now, it's going to bypass us. And we've said that about a lot of things in history, about how fast technology is moving. It's moving faster now than it ever has before.
exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Literally, I mean, faster than and it's not slowing down.
No.
I think that's up until now, if you've been debating about AI and stuff, I get it. I can even be defensible, but as we head into 2026, we're recording this in we got a week and a half till Christmas, goodness. I mean, not even a week and a half, so it's I better go shopping. But, we still have time to get involved in this. No, nobody's lost anything if you haven't.
Mhm.
But we're nearing that point where you are going to start losing if you're not involved. And that to me is the part that matters is it's time to act now, to get involved now. And when it comes to education, it's time to demand that our schools go, okay, let's figure out how do we use this responsibly. The
Mhm.
problem is it seems like every administrator I talk to goes, but the kids are gonna cheat. If they were gonna cheat, they were gonna cheat anyway.
Mhm. I
I
agree
don't
with you.
want them
I
to,
agree with you.
but AI or lack of it isn't gonna change that.
No.
Update your courses, deal with it, bring it in as a technology that you're going to use. And now let's teach our children how to use it responsibly. And that first falls on us as the parents, not the teachers. But
Mhm.
secondarily, we've got to hold our teachers accountable and our schools accountable because the kids spend a lot of time there
They
to
do.
make sure that they're not unwiring what we're trying to wire at home.
Exactly. And that's where I want to kind of shift maybe the conversation as we go through maybe the third half of the show here is okay, now what do parents do? Like how do they handle this situation? What do they look like? And to me, this is just my experience. And please don't take this as gospel because I am not perfect as a parent, any of these pieces. But one thing I have noticed is fear-based rules, they create secrecy. So you can't
Yes.
put the fear into them of this stuff, right? You need to keep that open dialogue. And as you're praying and that you have your relationship with the Holy Spirit, really pray to them for discernment that you can handle these things when they do arise, because there are going to be some things arise. So you can have dialogue with them and build trust with
Yes.
the kids. It's about that relationship because if they're on tablets, they're doing whatever they're doing out on their own, and you don't have any interaction with them. Like I said, we're pulling for attention on them. they're going to just go off on their own, and they're not going to believe anything that you say. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to share things with you. And then they're going to get in some trouble with some of these things. The goal is wisdom. We look at, Solomon, that's what he wanted. Look at him completely. It wasn't about control. He could have asked for any of that stuff, but he wanted the wisdom. That's something that we need to look at ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No, and I think that you said it so well. I mean, it's we need to be looking at that. We need to be encouraging, and yeah, I love Solomon. Solomon's a great example of that.
Mhm. Yeah, and one thing is us as parents is we do have to give ourselves grace as well, right? Because we are not
Yeah,
perfect in doing anything in this world. We
Eh,
just there's no
anything.
manual
Yes.
to this. It's giving us grace, because God will cover our blind spots, right? If we have
Yeah.
our relationship with Lord and we are praying for Him to protect our kids, to watch out for us, He will cover those blind spots that we don't even know we have, that
Oh
we
yeah.
don't know what we don't know, right? Parenting is just about obedience to me. It's not about a perfect performance, because I'll tell you, each one of my kids can tell you of a time that I wasn't perfect.
Oh, 100%. I mean, no matter how hard we try, it's just the reality of the way things work. And we can't be perfect. We can't know everything. And again, that's where I think, you mentioned discernment, and I think that's so important. Where AI gives us a tremendous pathway to teach our children about discernment and the importance of that in their day to day lives. And to me, that's just hugely relevant.
Yep. And I want the audience to really like take this to heart, is that, God chose us to parent our kids during this time. Like
Yeah,
he
so true.
believed in you. And so why can't we believe in ourselves, right? Give up a little bit of the control on this, because it's just you can't control them forever. It's okay. Let's instruct them. Let's teach them. Let's educate them and educate ourselves as we go about things that we need to find out, that we need to have that discernment about. And a few ways to do that: check out Jonathan's group, check him on social media, check my stuff out. Making sure that you're learning things from people that actually have like your best interests at heart, that are faith
Yeah.
led, that are doing this from the perspective that we are all using it as tools, but we're using it for good. And please, we're not perfect. So I keep saying
Oh,
that. We do
absolutely.
mess up from time to time, but we're here to try to lead from the right perspective.
Yeah, just don't tell my wife I mess up. I've been trying to tell her for 20 some years that I don't, okay? Please, please don't, no.
I
I
know,
think she
right?
knows. I think she knows, but I mean, I don't want to remind her of it.
Which your wife's amazing. I do some writing with her as well, with your Everyday AI Vibe magazine. You guys can check that out. Everyday AI Vibe magazine, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. So good. Check that out, guys. But Jonathan, let's talk about your community and what people do learn from your community. Where we're kind of directing traffic there.
Sure. Real simple. I just believe that it came from me. I fell in love with AI right away. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is made for people with ADHD. And by the way, I've been diagnosed.
Yep.
Okay,
You and me
it's
both.
amazing. My wife isn't, and she loves it too, though. So it's not just for those with it. But what I found out was that as I was embracing it, that a lot of my team wasn't. They were legitimately concerned because they were hearing in the press that, oh my gosh, it's going to take my jobs, and what are we going to do, and everything else. And there's still a lot of people that believe that. I do not subscribe to that, for the record. I think, like every other technology that we've ever experienced, there will be adjustments that are made, but we're not all going to be out of work. I just don't believe that for a moment. As such, I really wanted to teach businesses and their teams, and I want to stress and their teams, how to leverage AI from a practical perspective. There's lots of theory, there's lots of fear, there's lots of that. I want to basically, go grab ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Claude or Copilot from Microsoft or anything you want, and let's teach you how that tool, doesn't matter which one you pick, can help you save time,
Mhm.
can help you make more money, and can help you serve others more fully. And that's really been my goal. And that's really the focus of our community. There's lots of tips. As you know, it's free. There's lots of stuff we give away. I mean, we just yesterday, literally, my wife was gone, and so after church, I'm like, "Hey, let's do a promptathon while I'm sitting watching TV and doing other stuff." We put together over 400 pages of prompts. Now, I don't and by the way, we gave that away for free. I don't recommend everybody go study that in depth, but it is a great opportunity. There's tons of activity. There's almost 500,000 people in that group to
Mhm.
learn And if you want to learn and you want to learn in an environment where you're not going to get pitched constantly, you're not going to see smut or anything else, that's the place to be, because we do filter and I get rid of a whole lot of stuff. But the community is there to help people understand, again, how to use AI to do those things, to save time, to
Mhm.
make money if you're interested in that, and to serve others more fully. Maybe you just want to save time. That's cool. Maybe you just want to make money. That's cool. But those are our three kind of pillars that we stand on, and give away a ton of free content to do it.
That's amazing. A cool thing about that is I was just talking with my wife. It took her a little bit to adapt to AI, as you know, I've talked to you about that before. But now
Mhm.
that she's into there, we're talking about some plans that we want to do this in January. We all, we
I
want to get
love it.
healthy, right? We want to eat better. We want to do these things. And she's going to some doctors and talking to them about some stuff. I was like, "Well, have you tried just looking at some AI tools?" And she goes, "Well, no." So she got
Mhm.
into some chat GPT and threw everything in there about her, all the issues that she's having with food or different things that she's having with her health, and put it in there, and it created her a full 7-day meal plan.
Yeah.
But
It,
again,
it's
just a tool, right?
It is, but it's just stellar what it can do. I'm trying
Mhm.
to lose weight. I know my body is a temple, and I haven't taken great care of it. And I have an AI tool that's set up to help me based upon who I am, based on my health conditions and all that, which thankfully are overall really good, other than being fat. And it's helping me do a better job, because when I'm out and I'm tempted and I'm like I'm out on the road, I drive a lot, and I stop by the gas station, and oh man, it'd be nice to grab a candy bar or whatever. I pull that up and go, okay, I'm at the gas station and I'm hungry. What's the best way I can eat badly? And it will then recommend things that are appropriate for the way that I'm trying to eat,
That's
so
cool.
that I'm not, is it perfect? No. But if I can make those adjustments at every step that I go through
Mhm.
and do things better, that means I'm going to improve.
I agree.
And without AI tools, I didn't have anything to do that. I could read the books, and I did. I
Mhm.
could buy the books, which I did. But when I needed them in the midst of that, it was really hard. Now I can literally go, what, I'm on the road. I've got another hour before I'm home. I'm hungry. I'm at a gas station. What should I buy here to not totally blow my diet? And
That's
instead of
cool.
me giving in
Never
and
thought of that.
buying a donut or buying, a sandwich or whatever, it recommends things that fit for me and what I'm trying to do in my diet. And it's
Cool.
it's it's great.
Well, just right there, just thinking about it, we're talking about kids and AI today, and parenting and all these things. Talk to the AI about, okay, what are some things I should talk to my kids about this week about AI? You can actually
Yeah,
use that to get some talking points to start, to start this process,
absolutely.
and then use it to help you walk through those lessons, or what should we have discernment on today, or really talk about that through the AI piece. So use it to help parent as well.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. And again, it can do that. So why not take that
Mhm.
onto ourselves and leverage it again as a tool?
Yeah,
It's not a
exactly.
replacement, but it's an incredible tool.
Yeah. So just some closing thoughts here, Jonathan, that I have is, this is not about fear. We don't want to lead with fear. AI is not fear. That's why we do the show. We talk about that a
Mhm.
lot. It's about stewardship, that we're actually taking the tool and using it correctly, right? And I really want to hammer this point home, that God did choose us at this time to raise our kids during this AI era, and
Yeah.
really take that to heart, because God trusted you during this time. So, man, lead with that. Um, Jonathan, you got an ending thing with this?
Just embrace it. This is a technology that we've been given an opportunity to leverage.
Mhm.
Don't someday go, man, I wish I hadn't been scared.
Well, guys, thank you so much for another episode of Abundant AI. Find Jonathan at his social media. Check out mine at my social media. Reach out to us, guys. Ask those questions. We're here to help lead the charge from a faith based perspective into AI. Go out and have a great week, and God bless.